in Jackson, Georgia, Butts County. Town square, 4 traffic lights, that was it. Our fast food was a Tasty Freeze down the way from the country. I grew up in 6th District. There were a few of us that were in those district bands with Mark Tarkin's kids and Martin King's kids. I was 10 years old, and I went to town, as we called it back in the day, to watch my cousin Theodore play the drums in the Jackson High School, where the Henderson High School band. Theodore was probably 6th grade. He played the snare drum. He was the first person in the family to play and organize music. A lot of church music, and my grandfather was a shape note singer, which is where our ears came from in my family. So I went to town to see my cousin Theodore play in the drums, what we called it back in the day. They came down the street, my little town band was doing the best it could. I believe 35 members. Theodore was on the back row. The sling of the drum was on the ground, so he was almost dragging it. He was so excited. Down the street came the R.L. Cousins High School band. Apparently we played them in football. I remember the trombones in the front rank, it must have been 1,000 of them. The sousaphones in the middle, it may have been 10,000 of them, and there were drums that were along for at least a country mile. On the right side was a gentleman marching down the street wearing a white band director's uniform. The time was right hand, white shirt, gold string tie, and the drum major hat. The crease in his pants caught my eye first. He started marching down the street, and oh, what a band he had. And for some reason, it impressed me. I loved my cousin Theodore, but the band that came down from R.L. Cousins in Covington, Georgia, was the guy that I must have admired. I didn't know it at the time, but I can still see him marching down in step beside the band. So if you ever wondered why Alaska kept doing so many parades, it's because of TK, Mr. Adams. That was my first introduction to the school band. But not only that parade, but him. During those years, GMEA, I'm not sure existed. I remember going to District Festival. I just turned 60 years old. I was about 10 at the time. I remember going to the festival, but the white people weren't there. There were black festivals and white festivals. The association didn't merge until I was probably 11th grade in high school in the 70s, when we desegregated the schools about the same time. I think Boyd McCallum was leading that parade to put them together. Boyd hired me at Lassiter. And Mr. Adams was always there. He had a spectacular concert band that I remember no one's band played like Mr. Adams' band. I didn't know his name. Fast forward. GMEA convention. I don't remember where. Jekyll Island, Columbus, we moved it around a bit in those days. I think it was Jekyll. Hotel in the convention ballroom, hotel ballroom, and here in walks that man, that same face that I saw as a 10-year-old and then watched playing at concert band festival a little bit from afar. So I ran to him as a practicing band after my first or second year, and I ran over to him and I said, "There's that man again." I said, "Sir, you don't remember me, but I know you." And he looked at me for about 5 or 6 seconds, looked into my eye, and he said, "You're the little boy from Jackson, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Welcome to our profession. We're going to love the convention. Come every year. Best wishes to you." And from that year until now, he has watched over me. And we've had discussions about parenting, about marriage, about children, and about the band. And I'll pass this on to you. The value of a mentor. So we would talk on Sundays once every 2 or 3 months. I'd call him or he'd call me. So Mr. Watkins, how you doing? I said, "I'm fine, Mr. Adams." And I wanted to tell him about the Superior Festival that we had just earned, or the performance in some place. He said, "How's Rita?" It's my wife. So she's fine. Get on. She's fine, sir. He said, "How you boys?" "They're fine, sir." "What ages are they now?" I said, "Come on, get to it. Get to the band." He said, "Well, they're 5 and 8. He said, "Well, yeah, Tim is a little older than that." He told me a story about Tim. where he was and playing with ASYO and the Cleveland Orchestra and hoped he got an orchestra job one day. You saving your money? And I lied. I told him, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm saving my money. You're still courting your wife, aren't you? So, yes, sir. I'm still get to the band. So you got to continue to date your wife, or your marriage won't work. So you got to continue to court her, just like you did when you were dating. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He would say, okay, how's the band? Every conversation for my 39 years has been just like that. So Mr. Adams just completed his 50th year of conducting either high school band, middle school band, or adult community band. 50 years. And he told me his milestone, maybe it's 55, I don't remember my days on, but I'm getting a little senior now, so excuse me, sir. And he said that I conducted bands for 50 years and I was married for 50 years. Put a little pressure on him. He was telling me how to be a better band director, a better husband, a better father. And his wife is here tonight. Louise, I'd like for her to stand. Mrs. Adams. And since I'm retired and I have a microphone in my hand, Mr. Adams and Louise and Dr. Foster and his wife Mary from Florida A&M and about 3 more integrated to Midwest Clinic. They were the first ones there. They told me all the wonderful stories about it. And they did so many wonderful things here. But I wouldn't be here without them. He doesn't conduct anymore. And sometimes the tremendous soldiers that built our state organization, whose shoulders we stand upon, aren't recognized and thanked appropriately for their years of service. And I certainly wanted you to hear that story, because I thought it was a great story for everyone to recognize. And teachers, you don't know how you're going to impact students in your program, or in my case, in the neighborhood program. If you do it with kindness and love and respect, it'll always stay with you. So would you please welcome to the podium Tim Adams' father, Timothy K. Adams, Sr.